and welcome back to another episode of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, the show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. And after last week's explosion of crazy, wacky, wild adventure, we're probably going to continue that. We're still talking about the Doctor Who spin-offs of the world, except this time we're going to be talking about the modern era spin-offs. And I've got a great guest to bring on because he recently purchased the Blu-ray box set of the first 3 seasons of Torchwood, so he can put it in the massive library of DVDs behind him and never watch it again. Say hello to my good friend, Soda.
That is definitely one I'm going to be watching. I've already watched the first episode, and I will watch the second one later.
So is this your first time watching Torchwood?
So no, I actually watched it when I got into Who. So I have seen the first 3 seasons before. It's been a bit since I've seen them, but I have watched them. I haven't seen that BBC America 4th season that you don't like.
Yeah, you don't need to see it, but I mean.
Yeah, I'll probably find it. Or I'll probably watch it just as a completionist's sake, but I'm not in a hurry to, based on everything I hear.
All right, fine. I mean, I watch it whenever I'm doing a rewatch, for completionist's sake, but it is not good.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
Love the actors in it, but
yeah, if you actually you look at the cast list, it's a pretty stellar cast. It is BBC America that did it, but I think that's the thing. It's BBC America.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Pullman is the villain.
Yeah. Mekhi Phifer is in the cast, which is like that's pretty good.
What's his face? Ernie Hudson, I believe, is there also. Nana Visitor from Star Trek Voyager is there. Not Voyager, Deep Space Nine. Newman is there.
Newman.
But yeah, as far as the story, not that good. And the reason I'm spending so much time talking about it is, as you may have probably guessed from the introduction, the background, or the thumbnail. Today we're just going to talk about the modern day spin-offs from Doctor Who. But as per usual, we have our birthday section that for some reason is going to be decidedly very short because I don't know what happened. The website that I usually go to, that's my go-to website for all these birthdays, it crashed. I have no idea what's happening with that website. I cannot access it. I tried on my computer. I tried on my phone. I tried everything I could. I don't know.
I thought you'd have had it memorized by now.
No, because I go through everyone, not just the major actors. I go through every.
I know. As I said, I'm surprised you haven't memorized it by now.
No, I just go week by week, and I haven't really gotten to the week of from the 4th of October to the 10th of October. But there is one that there are 2 that I managed to salvage, just to not completely gloss over this birthday section. I apologize. I don't remember the exact birthday, so maybe I'll just amend this next week, assuming that website will work. But during this week, we have Dudley Simpson, who provided the background music for a lot of the classic era episodes, from William Hartnell all the way to Tom Baker. He was basically the Murray Gold of the classic era. If you actually look at the list of Doctor Who composers, a lot of the times you'll find composers that just mainly compose incidental music and background music for like 2, 3, 4 episodes. Dudley Simpson, I almost said Dudley Gold. Dudley Simpson did about 40.
Oh, wow.
So, he did the vast majority of the classic era episodes. And just for comparison's sake, Murray Gold did 120.
Oh, wow. So, I knew he did a lot. I just didn't realize he did a lot.
Because he also did Torchwood and Sarah Jane.
Right.
Shows that we're about to talk about. And the other one that I wanted to bring up is on October 8th, Kate O'Mara. She debuted the character of the Rani
Mm.
A former friend of the Doctor and the Master from the Academy turned evil renegade Time Lords. Seems to be a lot of them these days. So yeah, she fun story. Well, not really fun, but just story. They were about to bring her back to Big Finish for the main Doctor Who range. They had they talked to her. They had her approval. They had the entire storyline already written, and then she passed away.
Oh yeah, that'd do it.
Right before they started recording, and so sadly, they had to recast her. That's really kind of the beauty of Time Lords, storytelling wise, is that an actor passes away, no problem, recast, and that's really how they get away with a lot of Time Lord characters.
It's an ingenious MacGuffin.
It's such a genius move, and it's not just. It wasn't my favorite part of it. It's not limited to just the Doctor. That's why we have several versions of the Master, the Monk, the Rassilon, Romana, all kinds of different versions of characters, and I just love it. So, like I said, sadly we have a short list today, but Dudley Simpson, Kate O'Mara, and anyone else who had their birthday between the 4th of October and the 10th of October, thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. So let's talk spin-offs now. Now, obviously, chronologically speaking, what is the first spin-off that we're about to talk about?
I would go Torchwood.
And you would be correct.
By 1 year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I think Sarah Jane was 2007.
Yeah, because I'm going based on the finales, because in the Martha season, Captain Jack is there for the last couple episodes, and then of course, as we all know, Journey's End in season 4 with everybody. So that's kind of I figured who was first.
Yep, Torchwood was already on its second season when Journey's End happened, and I'm pretty sure that Sarah Jane's second season was after Journey's End, because
Matt Smith appeared, I think, in that second season, didn't he?
That was the 4th season.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so back to Torchwood. You said you only watched episode 1.
Recently, yes, but I have seen. Like I said, I've seen all the episodes. I do remember a decent amount of things, but yeah, I have only been able to watch the first episode recently.
Okay, now first thing that's very important and that I want to realize about Torchwood, even though Doctor Who is very much a family-friendly show, and it's occasionally geared towards children, Torchwood is not.
No, God, no.
Definitely not. Case in point, as you mentioned in the first episode, a guy gets his head cut off.
Yeah.
There's lots of blood and gore, and if that point wasn't already made by the time you finish watching episode 1, episode 2, there's an alien entity that literally fucks people to death.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, that's a major thing. Like, Captain Jack is very much unleashed in Torchwood, so to speak, when it comes to that. But I said to Ben in our chat, and you agreed, it's like, for layman's terms, it's CSI meets Doctor Who.
Yeah, pretty much. It's CSI. And fun fact, I used to have this minor fan theory that the old guy in NCIS was an older version of Captain Jack that somehow traveled back in time and after he got older.
You mean Ducky?
The guy with the white hair.
Yeah, Ducky.
Yeah.
Sorry, CSI.
NCIS.
No. The guy with the white hair. I don't remember.
The NCIS.
Okay, so in NCIS, yes, it is Ducky.
Yeah. I used to have this theory because I thought the actors looked pretty similar. And I just felt like they had really similar mannerisms to each other. So I just had this. And even though I didn't watch a lot of episodes of that show, I had this weird headcanon that he was actually an older Jack that traveled back in time.
I could see that. And plus, the actor is British, so there's that acting sensibility that comes out from him.
Yep. Even though, let me ask you this: what nationality do you think John Barrowman has?
Oh, this one I know. He's Scottish.
Yeah, it's super weird. He was born in Scotland but raised in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and he also he can still speak with his Scottish brogue, but he only speaks like that when he's with his family.
Yeah. For the rest of the world, he's American. He's
Yeah.
using his American accent.
I love it. I thought that was really cool, and I heard that, and then to hear him talk in his natural language, it's like just when you think you couldn't love him anymore, it's just like even that's awesome.
Everything about that guy is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he has gotten into certain troubles recently, but we're not going to here to talk about that. So, Torchwood, basically, it was pretty much set up in season 2 of the modern series, or series 2, depending on who you want to ask.
Yeah.
That basically, after a slight encounter with Queen Victoria, almost said Queen Elizabeth, that's a completely different encounter between the Doctor and that Queen. But after an encounter with Queen Victoria and a little adventure with a werewolf, she decided to start an institute to investigate alien threats and defend planet Earth against these such alien threats, with, of course, enemy number 1 being the Doctor.
Yeah, and if I'm not, I don't remember how the name came about. Is it because that's the name of the castle?
Yeah, it's the name of the estate that she stayed the night in that.
Yeah, where that episode takes place. Okay, that's what I thought.
And also, obviously, as you already know, Torchwood is an anagram of Doctor Who.
Right.
And I believe that was also the working name for the first season when they were filming it.
Oh,
yeah, I'm pretty sure so. So almost like how Blue Harvest was the working name for New Hope.
Yeah, I knew that. That's because when Family Guy did it.
Yeah, Family Guy.
Yeah.
So several years later, there are 3 Torchwoods in the world. Well, sorry, 4 Torchwoods all over the United Kingdom. First one, obviously, in London. You know, Canary Wharf. Torchwood 2 is in Soho, I believe. Either Soho or Glasgow, because I'm pretty sure there is a Torchwood Soho division.
But I know there is one in Glasgow.
Yeah, so I think, Captain Jack mentions Glasgow in episode 1 of Torchwood, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I did remember that. He mentions Glasgow. Torchwood 3 is in Cardiff. And Torchwood 4, as Captain Jack mentions in episode 1, is lost. No one knows where it is, which is a subtle reference to Babylon 5.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I never watched Babylon 5, but I read somewhere that it's a slight reference to Babylon 5 because Babylon 4 is also lost or something like that. So no one can find it.
I like that.
As I mentioned, there is also a Soho division on Big Finish. But yeah, the original team consisted, as you can see, of Captain Jack Harkness.
Yep.
Owen Harper, that's him on the far right.
Yep.
Toshiko Sato, the one right next to him. Right next to her.
In an episode of Doctor Who.
Yep, absolutely. The Slitheen episode.
Yep.
Right next to her, Yanto Jones.
Love that name.
And next to Captain Jack, Susie Costello, and on the far left, Gwen Cooper, which is sort of the main character of episode 1. She gets introduced to Torchwood, and spoiler alert for anyone watching who hasn't seen this 16-year-old show.
All right.
Susie dies in episode 1. Sort of. It sort of turns out that she was actually secretly plotting against Torchwood for a very long time, and she finally had a grand master plan, and literally step 1 of that master plan, she shot herself in the head.
Yep.
That's pretty much so.
Yeah, like you said earlier, this is definitely not for kids. One thing you forgot about Gwen Cooper, she is a distant relative of, Gwendolyn from the Charles Dickens episode?
Gwyneth,
yes. I knew it was someone of those lines. Gwyneth of that episode, yeah.
Yeah, which is a subtle joke of explaining how Britain has a relatively limited pool of actors, so they occasionally have to reuse them, especially in a show with the legacy of Doctor Who. So that's their way of explaining it.
Yeah, and I like it because it plays into her character too, if I'm not mistaken, at one point.
It was a subtle mention in Journey's End, but it's another example of Russell T Davies winking at the audience a lot of the time. A lot of the times, which was something he also did in The End of Time Part 2, when and I promise this that actually ties into spin-offs, because right at the end of Time 2 Part 2, the Doctor goes around the world and the universe visiting all his previous companions, where he saves Luke from almost being ran over by a car while talking to Clyde on his phone. And the reason that whole part was in that scene, that was just a Russell T Davies inside joke of actors never looking both ways before crossing the street, because they don't have to. It's in the script. They need to cross the street. They just cross it without looking both ways. And that was just Russell T Davies' joke.
That's funny.
Joke. So as I mentioned,
I remember that moment. She says, "Oh, looking after Luke. Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah." He was saying to look, and it's the Doctor, and leaves.
And that's the last time this incarnation of the Doctor saw Sarah.
Yeah, his departure is one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, that was the original team, and this was sort of a team after that, because Gwen Cooper officially joined the roster of people in Torchwood, and Susie left. She does come back in a few episodes later, but that's beside the point. And the Torchwood team basically just a Cardiff division of this grander Torchwood thing that just investigates alien activity from the Torchwood Rift.
Which, right under the really beautiful mural.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that it looks like that, because that's the background. So do you know how to take both of us off screen but still keep the audio?
Yeah. Do you have it in the background?
Yeah, it's literally the background.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I just realized that didn't do that. Do you have it in the back here in the brand?
It's in the brands all the way down in background.
Okay. Yeah, there is a way. It's just you gotta put it into brand, and then you can do it. That's the only way I know how.
Well, since we don't have any idea what we're doing here, let me try this. Let's take off the background and just put this thing on screen.
There you go.
Now you can see this is more or less what the Torchwood hub looks like on the inside, or at least part of it. It's really just a continuation of that massive column that we see in that Boomtown episode.
Yeah,
extended all the way to the bottom. The entrance, I love the way the entrance door looks. There's these cage doors and this revolving massive cog that just slides to the right whenever someone enters. They like to order pizza a lot. There's all kinds of shenanigans there. There's Captain Jack's office is in there. They have a live pterodon flying around the place. There's cells there's underground cells where they keep all their alien creatures. Predominantly weevils, the main species of alien that usually ends up in Cardiff as a result of the Rift. So basically, the Rift, which existed for the majority of the Russell T Davies era, just brought aliens to Earth from the past or the future, and it was the Torchwood the Torchwood team's job to hunt them down, find them, and make sure they don't hurt anyone. And a lot of times, it led to really some dramatic moments. There's an episode where just 3 random people from the past show up, and then they just have to integrate them into society. There's all kinds of weird romance between the different members of the group. There is
that's one of the things that always stuck out, and I always felt a little weird about was the relationship between Gwen and I already forgot his name, Burn Gorman.
Owen.
Yeah, I know his real name more than I know his character name, Burn Gorman. I always thought that was a little weird. To me, that's the one thing I've never really been quite, ecstatic about when it comes to Torchwood.
Yeah, but thankfully it's very, very quickly brushed under the rug.
Yeah, which I'm being honest, a lot. If I remember correctly, a lot of season 1 kind of feels like.
I suppose you're right, but there's enough around it to distract you from that one. Yeah. So speaking of Gwen Cooper, she also has her boyfriend, Reese. Williams, I think.
I think so. And somebody who, as you go along, becomes more and more part of the team, I guess.
Part of the crew. And there's also a Torchwood main range on Big Finish. It's basically just, it's not really organized. It's just a collection of adventures with literally every single character that ever appeared on Torchwood, and even bringing in a lot of characters from Doctor Who into the Torchwood realm. And it's just adventures taking place at a random parts of the history. Sometimes you get adventures while Susie was still part of the team, way before Gwen Cooper joined the team. Sometimes you get adventures after, spoiler alert, Owen and Tosh died.
Which I was just like, come on, really? I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
In the show?
In the show, yeah. When I watched it the first time, I was like, what? Come on. I like them.
Maybe because you like them, that's why they had to go.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes, sometimes you get these adventures with Reese as a part of the team. Sometimes you get adventures that take place before the events of Army of Ghosts. The character Yvonne Hartman from that episode, who was the head of Torchwood 1 at the time, she shows up on the show. Blonde Felfach, the Slovene character, she also makes appearances on the show, again, taking place in a timeline way before the Boomtown episode happened. There's episodes taking place in the Victorian Age with Victorian Age Captain Jack and Queen Victoria. Like I said, there's really just a timeline that's all over the place. There's even a fairly recent adventure with Yanto Jones before he joined this group of Torchwood.
Oh.
So yeah, there's like, on Big Finish, there's a range of different adventures. And like I said, other characters from Doctor Who also show up. Like Joe Grant was there in an episode. Ace also shows up in an episode, I think. So yeah, there's really the possibilities for telling stories in the Torchwood realm is pretty much endless. Now,
season 2 does that a little bit too, because we get Martha for a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, Martha was in season 2, and she also came back in the Torchwood range as well. Imagine it. So after Martha joins in season 2, and as we alluded to, Owen and Tosh die at the end of season 2. Again, spoilers for a 16-year-old show, but then after that, the team mainly consists of Jack, Gwen, and Yanto. Spoiler for all TV shows.
Yeah, that's from one of mine and Ben's show.
And this is really the main team, and plus Reese, I suppose, for the third season. The Children of Earth season, one of the best seasons in sci-fi history, not just in the Doctor Who realm. It's a masterpiece of storytelling.
I remember it being really good. Yeah.
You watched that one, didn't you?
Yeah, like I said, I watched series 1, 2, and 3 like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. When I first started getting into Doctor Who, I was devouring everything I could get my hands on. So I rented all the old Tennant stuff. I rented all the Eccleston season. I rented Torchwood. Sarah Jane Adventures on this side of the world has always been the hardest to get your hands on.
It's the hardest thing whenever you live in the world, except the UK. And that is a physical impossibility because they canceled the channel that show was on.
But I mean, like, just to get like the DVDs over here or what have you, like that's what I mean. Like, it's just hard to find. Like, I was trying to find a complete series like I did with Torchwood. You can't get them over here. You can only get them over on the other side of the pond. Like, I can get the seasons, but I can't get like a complete series set.
Mainly because even in the Doctor Who realm, it was a really, really niche show.
True.
like only if you were watching CBBC at the time, you would have been aware of it. I don't even think the team running Doctor Who promoted that show as much as they did Torchwood, which ties into some stuff that we're going to talk about later. But we'll save that for the Sarah Jane discussion. So after the masterful season of the Children of Earth, it felt like that was the way the story went. It felt like that was the end for Torchwood. Yanto, again, spoilers for all TV shows. Yanto dies at the end, and Captain Jack goes off, and he goes to travel the universe again. So, and for a very long time, it looked like that was the end. It looks like Torchwood wasn't coming back, and then they brought it back for an American network, for BBC America, for the Miracle Day season. That was the name of the season. It wasn't very good. I think we mentioned this. I can't remember if you said it on the episode or if we said it before we went live or started recording. We like the actors in it, not so much the show.
Yeah, that was before because like you said, it's Bill Pullman is in it as the villain. You got Mekhi Phifer, and it does you have some recognizable American actors in it. Like it's a good cast.
Just not a very good story.
Yeah. Well, did Russell T Davies have anything to do with it?
Who?
RTD.
I don't think so.
That would explain it then.
I think for Torchwood and Sarah Jane, it was this. He got the ball rolling and just handed over to someone else. Which I'm pretty sure that the guy that ran Torchwood for a very long time was Chris Chibnall.
Yeah, he's credited on a lot of stuff there, which is like interesting.
Who is still currently the showrunner for Doctor Who, and currently the target for a lot of internet hate, because that's the thing about Doctor Who fans is they always hate the current showrunner while he's showrunning the show. Yeah. They did that for
Moffat.
Moffat. They did that for Russell T Davies. Obviously.
Wait, really? They did that for RTD?
Well, I don't think while he was running the show, but right now I'm seeing a lot of just people trashing all over Russell T Davies.
Wow.
Years after. I guess maybe because he's coming back, so it's like, okay, we're done trashing on Chris Chibnall now. We gotta start trashing on Russell T Davies because that's what fans do when they love something. Instead of loving something, they have to trash all over it.
You think that's going to end when his stuff debuts? Because I get a feeling he's going to knock it out of the park again.
I have a feeling he's going to do that too. But again, he's only doing it temporarily. I believe he's only there until 2025. And after that, he's going to hand the reins over to another showrunner who's going to be the target of a lot of other internet hate because that's how the internet works. But yeah, so this is basically, like I said, the new team of Torchwood with Esther Drumwood and Rex something. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it.
He's so familiar.
This guy?
The one who played Esther, the other lady in the picture. I know who that is. That's Mekhi Phifer, but the other lady.
Not sure.
The one in the green shirt that's at the computer?
That was the character Esther, and again, I'm not sure who the actor is.
Okay.
You want to look it up while I make a quick segue to the next topic?
Yeah, of course.
So the next topic is the Sarah Jane Adventures, the other spin-off show that took place during that Russell T Davies time, and actually it's slightly transitioned over into the Russell T Davies, the Stephen Moffat era. It's basically, I mean, the name says it all. It's Sarah Jane Smith having some adventures alongside her adopted alien son, Luke Smith, and his two school friends, Maria Jackson and Clyde Langer. Maria Jackson obviously moved away in season 2 to make way for Rani Chandra, a hugely beloved fan favorite character played by Anjali Mohindra, who's still doing a lot of Doctor Who related stuff on Big Finish today. It seems like every time they need a character of Indian descent with an Indian accent, they get Anjali Mohindra.
Jesus.
Yeah, and she's
Sorry, I was gonna say the lady's name is Alexa Havens.
did you realize
Nope.
where she's really from?
Well, I might. So she's just done a few guest episodes of things. So I think I might have recognized her from an episode of Castle. Apparently,
Okay.
she just looks familiar.
Possibly. I love that she has a scene in that Miracle Day episode where she just goes with Gwen Cooper and starts explaining to her all the different things that Americans say differently from British people.
Oh,
Like they say gas instead of petrol, they say chips instead of crisps. They actually felt they need to put that into the show. And that's one of my favorite parts about that season is the humor and the cultural differences between British and American stuff. But back to Anjali Mahindra, I was going to say before you interrupted me that she also was the queen of the Skithra in the Nikola Tesla episode from the Jodie Whittaker era. And she's also married to the master, Sacha Dhawan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's a fun fact, a fun Doctor Who fact for you. So in this wonderful show of Sarah Jane, which lasted for 5 seasons, they battled against evil, creepy nuns, Slitheen, Sontarans, the Bane, and of course, the Trickster. One of the best characters that come out of that show. And even the hold on, the Brigadier shows up in one episode. There's a lot of really cool hints towards Sarah Jane's time with the Doctor. K9, for rights reasons, wasn't able to appear very much in the first 2 seasons. He only had a few quick guest appearances until season 3. He became a regular character on the show. Even the Doctor showed up.
I was going to say both Tennant and Smith.
Yep. As well as Katie Manning reprising her role as Josephine Grant with her grandson, Santiago. Can you guess who the actor is, by the way?
Actually, I can't because it's been so. I don't know who he is because he probably doesn't look like who I would recognize.
Pretty much so. It's Finn Jones.
No.
Yeah, Finn Jones from Game of Thrones and Iron Fist.
I can see it a little bit, but no, my lord, yeah, I would not have called that.
So there we go. I taught you something you didn't know today.
Jeez.
So by season 4, Tommy Knight, I believe, was the name of the actor who played Luke. He had some academic educational studies that he had to,
yeah, he wanted to go off to college or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah,
I think so. And
good on him.
Yeah, good for him. He couldn't play the part of Luke on the show anymore, so they literally wrote that into the show that he had to go study abroad, and he made guest appearances via what would basically be considered Zoom today. Mm-hmm. So that was an early version of Zoom that made video phone calls before appearing, I believe, in the finale of season 4 and the finale of season 5. So
because he's there when he's there with Sarah Jane and everybody when they're doing all their things from their own area. Yeah.
So by season 3, Sarah Jane adopted a daughter named Sky, who was again. It seems to be a thing with Sarah Jane that she's adopting aliens as her children. Unfortunately, though, that was the last season of the show because tragically Elizabeth Sladen passed away from I believe it was breast cancer, I think, and they had to cut the season short. Fortunately for them, they shot the majority of the finale before filming the episode 4 and 5. So what they did is they broadcast episode 1 and 2 as they were, and then they just went ahead and broadcast episode 6. No, episode 5, the finale, and just released it as it was with a few extra scenes of Luke and Sky together. to compensate for the lack of Sarah Jane Smith in that one episode. And that was, unfortunately, that saw the end of that show. That show, even though, like I said earlier, it was very, very difficult for a lot of time, for a very long time to find for a lot of people.
I can buy digitally, but I mean physically. I'm a physical media guy.
Oh, okay, sorry. That's what I apologize. Even though it's still physically difficult to find, that show has a major, major cult following. I believe a lot of the the Sarah Jane episodes that did not get made somehow made their way into audio form. Not on Big Finish. I believe it was on BBCR Radio.
Oh.
And there was also a lot of other BBC Radio episodes narrated by Elizabeth Sladen during the time when the show was on. And going on several years now. What was it? I think it's 10 years since the show got canceled. Anjali Mahindra, and I can't remember the name of the other guy, and I'm really kicking myself for doing that, but the guy that played Clyde Langer, they're getting their own series on Big Finish next year.
Oh, cool.
I believe it's called Ronnie Chandra Takes on the World, or something like that.
I thought you were going to go into the tribute episode they did for Sarah Jane on YouTube. The tribute video that you showed me that one time. But I thought that's where you were going with that.
Yeah, I suppose we can talk about that because it's still tangentially tied to the show. It's more to do with Sarah Jane as a character, but Sarah Jane herself got her own tribute video webcast, I should say, written by Russell T Davies, the creator of the show. And it was basically just Jacob Dudman, who does a lot of Doctor Who stuff on Big Finish, just narrating Sarah Jane's funeral, essentially, mentioning all the companions, past and present, that came back to pay their respects to Sarah Jane. Obviously, Captain Jack was there. Yeah. Martha was there with her husband Mickey and their daughter August.
Oh, sorry, what was the kid's name?
August.
August Jones. I like that.
Yeah. No, August Smith.
Yeah.
Mickey was the father.
Smith and Jones.
Smith and Jones. Still not a fan of the fact that they got married. Yeah. Ace also shows up, Sophie Aldred, and canonically she took K9 with her. So yeah, if you're wondering what happened to that K9 that was with Sarah Jane the whole time, he's with Ace now. So, and Ace is coming back for Jodie Whittaker's next episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could we see K9?
Maybe. There's rumors for other companions also.
Yeah.
So that would be very interesting to see.
Who do you want to see come back? Like if you could pick who could be in it, which companion?
Well, I mean, obviously my favorite is Sarah Jane, but that's not happening anytime soon.
But there will have to be a nod to her somehow, because even then they had a nod to her in the 50th, didn't they? When they were entering into the one room and you saw the pictures of all the people that they've talked to but have had their memory erased. Wasn't she on there?
No, there was in the 50th. I think Clara goes off and looks at a notice board with all kinds of pictures of different companions.
Yeah, but I could sworn I thought I saw Sarah Jane on there.
Yeah, Sarah Jane was there. And the weird thing is, some of those pictures were from the future, so I don't know how Unit got their hand on that, but whatever.
But I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that for Sarah Jane in the 60th. It's Russell T Davies. He's going to.
If I had a pick of the litter, I would love to see either William Russell or Fraser Hines make a return. Can you tell me who they play?
Fraser Hines is Jamie. And sorry, what was the name of the first one?
William Russell.
That's Ian Chesterton, right?
Yes. Correctamundo, a word I have never used before and probably never going to.
That's one of the few classic Who stuff classic Who actors I can name. That's not the Doctor.
So every time I have you on a show, we just go off in every single different direction. I completely forget my piece. So yeah, I think we're about done with Sarah Jane Smith.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much more to talk. Like, I mean, I've only ever seen the episodes that have the Doctor in it. So I mean, I've seen episodes, but not a lot. But it is one that's like I really want to go watch, but it's just like, do I want to buy it digitally if that's the only way? Like, I really want it physical because I have everything else physical.
I think, hear me out. Just buy the digital version just to watch it, and then try to find the physical one just to own it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. So I like it. So for anyone watching and is actually interested in those episodes that the Doctor was in, they're called "The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith,"
Yeah,
and "The Death of the Doctor." And also for those interested in the episode where the Brigadier shows up, and I love this picture right here.
yeah, that's one I'm gonna have to watch because I've actually I want to see the Brigadier as an older gentleman.
Yeah, it's so good. And that episode, even without the Brigadier, it's such a great episode, and it's called "The Enemy of the Bane." Naturally, you're going to have to watch the first episode of the show, Invasion of the Bane, to understand what's happening. But
well, okay then.
that's the name of the episode. So yeah, may Elizabeth Sladen rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in power.
And good luck to Anjali Mahindra on her upcoming Big Finish series. So
one more.
Should we move on to Class?
That's the only other one, isn't it?
Maybe. I don't know.
From Modern?
By the way, I remembered something that I was gonna say earlier. Did you know that in the Modern series, aside from the Ninth Doctor, and for obvious reasons, the War Doctor, the Doctor has made an appearance on every single. Every single Doctor has made an appearance in a spin-off show.
Even Whittaker?
Yes.
Okay, then I didn't know that there was another. Okay, because because I knew Capaldi appeared somehow on Class, and of course, as we just covered, Tennant and Smith on Sarah Jane. I didn't realize Whittaker did as well. Because what is there a spinoff? I didn't know that.
There's a new spin-off show called Doctor Who Reducted, which is a BBC radio show about this group of girls who are basically started their own alien hunting thing, and Jodie Whittaker made a sort of cameo guest appearance in the first episode.
Hey, I would never have known that because I didn't even know that was a thing. That's pretty cool.
I have not listened to it yet because it's on BBC Radio, so it's a little less accessible for me to Big Finish. But that's the one I really am excited to really anticipating to. Can't get my words out. I really am excited to listen to because it is Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, not being show run by Chris Chibnall.
Oh,
I'm really curious to see how that's going to end up. So back to Class. Do we have Class? Have you ever even heard of the show?
Yes, I've heard it because I was heavy into Doctor Who news at the time, but I've never seen it.
It is not very well beloved. I'll say that. It is not very talked about very fondly, which is weird because I love it. I absolutely love this show.
Yeah, you've spoken highly of it, yeah.
I don't know what people's problem with that show is. I love it. It's like, we talked earlier about how Torchwood was mainly geared towards adult viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Jane is much more towards younger audience.
Very much so, yeah.
That's sort of a weird mixture of the two. It's like Doctor Who sort of split off into adult and young audience, and then somehow merged into Class.
Oh,
so it's not for kids, but it's got some very adult themes in it. I would say young adult themes.
Okay.
A younger audience than Torchwood, but still not old enough. Too old for Sarah Jane and potentially Doctor Who, because there's a lot of gore in there, and there's also a same-sex relationship there in Class. So basically, you know nothing about the show, right?
I just know that it takes place at the freaking place that Ian and Clara and I can't remember the other one's name taught at the academy. That's the only thing I know about it.
The Cole Hill Academy.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know about it, is that it took place there.
Yeah, and even in that one episode where the Doctor shows up, he sees Clara's name in the list of the dead, which oddly enough also features Danny Pink, but it also features Barbara, I believe, which is weird because in Sarah Jane she mentions that Ian and Barbara have never actually aged. Actually, no.
Where did I hear that from? I have heard that some one of the characters say that before.
Sorry, my bad. I believe it's got Susan's name on it. Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter.
Oh.
So because she left the school and no one knows where she was.
I guess that's right. That's right. Yeah, sorry. When you said that, I was like, oh, did she die in the thing? No, of course, she disappeared back in the 60s.
I mean, Jacqueline Hill passed away years ago, around the year I was born, I think. But William Russell is still with us, and Carol Danforth. But yeah, for obvious reasons, Susan's name was on there because
that makes sense.
Yeah, she left the school, and there's a moment in there when the Doctor sees Clara's name, and this is right after Clara left the show, when she erased the Doctor's memories.
In other words, the happiest time in 50s life.
Thank you for bringing that up. I just want everyone to notice this. I was being completely neutral, talking about Clara Oswald, and then this thing.
I'm sorry, I had to.
The problem is not with me. Everyone thinks I have a problem with Clara. I can speak neutral about that character. Because whenever you and Ben hear me talk about it, let's poke the bear. Let's poke the bear.
Yeah, you know why, folks? Because of this. We just got. That's why. Yeah, you even have it on retainer. I love it. Oh man. No, I know. I know. It's just fun to poke you. It is fun to poke you. But yeah, sorry. Continue.
Speaking of poking, this is going to be too long to explain, but basically the Doctor finds this race who's been in a long civil war between one another, the Quill and the Rhodians. That's why I meant poking, because she's covered in it. Long story short, they all got completely exterminated by these guys. What?
Whoa! That's like the opposite of the Ice King, the Snow King from Game of Thrones.
It's actually a Shadow King. That's the name of the species, and that's the name of the character, the Shadow King. And they basically committed genocide. They exterminated all of the Quill and the Rhodians, aside from these two characters, that the Doctor saved them from the collapse of their planet, and he sent them to Earth to live as humans in human disguises. He made Quill. Hold on, this is them in their human persona. He made the Quill character the teacher, and he's a student, and she's basically kind of sort of a prisoner, and he's her warden. It's really weird. It makes more sense once you watch the show. Like I said, it takes a little too long to explain, but basically that's who they are. And surprise, surprise, the Shadow King are still around. They chase them there. Apparently there's a rip in time and space. Seems to be happening a lot in places in Doctor Who, but there's a rip in time and space in the Cole Hill Academy, and then this plucky young group of students and their teacher are the only ones standing in the way of aliens coming from that from aliens that are taking over the Earth, and they fight the Shadow King, a dragon at one point, some weird plant creatures that show you the people that you lost, and some weird flowers. Weird carnivorous flowers. It's like flower petals that bite into you when you touch them.
Sounds like the showrunners were on drugs. Wow, that's weird.
Okay, like I said, I really like the show. Okay.
I'm not. I can't bash something I've never seen. I'm just saying that sounds a little weird.
Maybe you'll watch it and you'll think you'll actually think it's good.
No.
Like,
Yeah, I that is one. Is it on BritBox? Did you see it on there?
I think I did, but I don't remember. It's been a while since I was able to go on BritBox. I haven't been on there for a while.
Yeah, because I know I saw it somewhere.
Okay, so maybe it's worth checking out, if for nothing else, just to see what everyone's talking about. And let me just give you a bit of a heads up. It ends on the mother of all cliffhangers. Doctor Who or otherwise. It's just the mother of all cliffhangers, and we never get to see what happens next because even though there were plans for season 2, it got canceled.
Yeah, I guess it didn't do too well, did it?
Nope, not at all. Fortunately, though, they brought back the show on Big Finish with 4 box sets already.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And and fun fact, I haven't listened to any of them yet, but one episode actually brings back the Daleks, and another one, I think it's the same one. Ace shows up there as well.
Oh, very nice.
It's interesting because Ace broke apart a Dalek with a baseball bat, and I'm pretty sure it was the same school. I think. It's been a while since I've seen Remembrance of the Daleks, but I'm pretty sure it was the same school that in the show.
Okay, so it might have been on a website that I do things I'm not supposed to on, that I saw it because I can only buy it on iTunes.
Okay, I'm really curious to know what that website is, but
sure, I think I've shared it with you before.
This sounds like a conversation for the green room. Yep. So, yeah.
It sounds like a conversation for class.
Yeah, this is not a very classy conversation. I keep forgetting to click the loop button off. So should we talk about our final subject for the night?
Yes. Let's go ahead.
K9. So apparently K9 got his own show in the 2010s on BBC Australia because it was quite literally the only network that wanted to have the show on it.
Huh.
And I have seen an episode or two here and there. It's not really a show I wanted to watch, but for the new rewatch that I'm doing right now, I guess I'm going to have to bite that bullet and watch it. Basically, the K9 Mark 1, the original K9 from The Invisible Enemy, somehow survives the Time War and gets sent to Earth, gets destroyed by these aliens, and I kid you not, he regenerates. Turns out there's a way to regenerate robots, and he regenerates into this new modern hovering K9.
Dear Lord. I don't like it. To quote the doctor, I don't like it.
You can see now why I've avoided that show for a very long time. Much like Class, it only lasted 1 season, and I believe only 11 episodes, which, again, probably going to have to bite the bullet and watch. But one positive thing I'll say about it, John Leeson is back as the voice of K9, the iconic voice of K9. So that's always a plus when you get to hear K9 voiced by John Leeson. The guy just has a handle on this character, and the main reason why only K9 alone was on the show is primarily there's some weird rights issues problem with K9. K9. There's a lot of weird rights stuff with a lot of Doctor Who creatures, characters, and stuff. Case in point, the Daleks got their own movie, 2 movies, I should say, but because of the weird rights issues between the creator of K9 and the BBC, he wanted a spin-off show for K9, and the BBC said no. So he basically had to go and shop the idea around for other networks without the aid of the BBC, and they pretty much baked it into the general story of the show. The K9, after regenerating, he had severe amnesia and forgot who he was and where he came from, which is a weird way of explaining why he can never really mention the Doctor or Gallifrey or anything associated with the realm of Doctor Who because of the weird right stuff.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, he forgot, and that is also partly the reason why K9 wasn't really around for the majority of the first 2 seasons of the Sarah Jane Adventures, because he was on that other show. But once that show got canceled, that was when they brought K9 back full time for at least 1 season. So that is the story of K9. And do you have anything else to add to K9?
No, because I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know.
A lot of people do. Maybe one of these days once I finally bite that bullet and watch that show, I am going to make that into an episode of this show. But that is a story for another time. And that pretty much brings the end to this episode of Doctor Who spin-off shows. And I'm pretty sure you can take the banner off now.
Yes, I can.
So thank you. It was confusing me. Mr. Soda, thank you for being on the show. And where can the people find you, my good friend?
You can find me personal Instagram, Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can also find me on various shows on this channel, like the Northern Countdown Saturday mornings with 50 and Ben here, Rewind the Tape on Thursdays with Ben, and we are just on a little bit of a hiatus right now because my personal schedule is really hectic, but you can find me Wednesdays usually on the Squared Slice, the restaurant on this channel when I have time. And you can also find me over on Friday nights at 8:15 Pacific over on the Let's Get Ready Network on the Blokes of Wrestling, the wrestling podcast over there. We go live right after Rampage.
Cool. And you can find me, like I sort of mentioned, on Northern Countdown most every Saturday and every Monday on this show, The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. You can also find me on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I started a brand new Doctor Who themed series where I go through every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2022 and review them. It's called Doctor Who Revisited. And
He's a casual fan, folks.
Yeah, no worries. Casual. I don't like the show that much. I don't know why they gave me a whole show about it on this channel, but whatever. So, and you can also find me on Taco's channel. Let's Something to Talk About. I did a Let's Talk About Star Wars a couple of weeks ago, and I also was also on a recent video that he did where he gave Pokemon types to Lion King characters, because it's my favorite movie of all time, and it's the best movie of all time. It's not kid ourselves. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that pretty much covers all the bases.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ben, you can also find him on his show, his channel, The Multiverse of Geekdom, and also on this channel we have Have You Seen This with regular to this show, Snark, as well as Dave and Daniel, whenever they're available. So yeah. I think that's it.
That's it.
Okay, so until the next time, everybody, may the Torchwood be with you. I was trying to find a nice way to end it, but I couldn't really think of it.
Allons-y.
Yeah, I've done Allons-y multiple times. I think it's.
I haven't.
Okay, fine. So Allons-y from the one guy who actually knows French.
See?
Bye.